Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Uh, I think we are coming back to the normality of the time where we are supposed to meet. So today you can see my face really tired because today I had to wake up really early in the morning, like 5:45 or 6, and we went to three temples, and we spent the whole day all around, then write the blog and everything, and tomorrow we have to leave at the same time and leave the boat at the same time. So it's so many things that I think again I will sleep a little bit. So sorry for my face today and tomorrow. Let's go to the topic for today, which is schemes. And we are connected today with the ankles. And remember that tomorrow we close the month of Capricorn. So we are done with being in the cave, learning about our ancient um, history and all the work that was our history, and we will start to look into the future. So first of all, let's try to understand what is scheme for us today. Um, it's for sure that all of us has been related to the concept of schematization in school, because the in school we had to learn how to make schemes in the process of learning, because we needed um, to put everything in a correct order. To understand a topic, we needed to schematize this topic so we could understand better. So one of the things that we had to do during the process of learning is to know how to schematize. I don't know the word in English. To make a scheme of everything. So this is why, because of our teachings in school, in our common thoughts as cultural beings, we have this preconception of the scheme being something that limit us, because it tries to put a very big topic into just one thing smaller. So we kind of perceive schemes like holding a pattern, um, um, or to put limits on something. So we have this idea, this concept of creating a scheme or living our life through a schematical way. Um, we used to think about this like something wrong or something limiting in our lives. But the reason why we do that is because of the origin of the word. The concept of scheme, it comes from the Greek language scheme, that means the shape, the form of something. And it comes from the Indo-European language, which is seg, that means to hold something. To hold. So this is why a scheme mainly represents for us something that holds everything in one form and puts some limits on the things. That's what we relate with the concept of schemes. So I was just saying that that when I was explaining that, I will explain now in English. We have to come back to school, because this is something that we learn at school, and I'm sorry for those of you who hated school learning these things, but sometimes to understand life, we need to to go back to the main topics. So, in order to understand a scheme, what we have to do is to go through a process that we call in English summary and diagram. And we will go to those two processes. So to do that, let's go to school. In school, for sure, remember you remember that the teachers usually give you like this big text with a lot of information, and they said you have to make um, um, you have to make a scheme, you have to make a summary of all the information, an outline of what is this topic. Okay, that was something that we all have to do in the school. So in order to do that, you have to make a summary. We usually relate it with putting all that in a small thing, so like taking information to keep with just the important things. But it's not that. Summary comes from the word sum, which is to add things, not to rest things. Okay, it's totally the opposite. So make a summary is to put all the things that were spread in a big text, put all of it, all the heavy of it, into just a few words. So this word has the sum of all the other concepts. It's not like you take many things, so you have just the important things. Is that you take all information into just tiny things. Okay, so that's why we call summary. Okay, and in order to get a summary, you need to make a diagram. What is a diagram? A diagram is a Greek word that comes from dia, that means to go through, and gram, that means to write, the writing. So diagram means to go through the writing. Okay, and what is this? That when you read a text, that you try to understand the whole text, in order to keep the storyline, what you have to do is to pick up some words through the text and write it down like in the line of the text. So those words will be the key to remember the concepts of every paragraph. So you are summarize the concepts of each paragraph into one word. And through that, you connect the topics of each paragraph to have the idea. And that's what we call the diagram. And all that is the outline of a story that we know with the word scheme. Okay. Scheme is this last structure that you have of the entire text, which is the summary. Okay, so that's what we have learned at school for sure in language class. So what does the scheme? The scheme gives a shape to all the information that was spread around. So all this content, this information that was all around, now it's put on a frame. So that's why we call it a framework. Okay, it puts some limits on it. So it doesn't matter the structure. It is a frame. So it can be a triangle, a circle, it doesn't matter. So the shape, it doesn't matter, but it limits the concept. The process of getting this scheme helps us to understand the world. Everything that we have around, everything that is spread in the cosmos, is so much data, so much information, that if we put all of it together in only one concept, like collecting all the important things, and we put it in just one symbol, we later can, just by seeing that symbol in that frame, we can understand all the data, the information that is behind it, without the need of going step by step to see all the things. So this is why this center, this concept, is what gives us the ability to be intelligent. intelligent comes from the Latin word interlegere. Interlegere means to read in between the lines, because legere, which is the origin of read, basically means to collect things. So when you read, you are collecting different concepts and things to yourself. Okay, so that's the meaning of legere. And then when you have inter, it means in between. So when you collect things in between, and that speaks about the ability that the humans have to understand from a big concept just a few ideas, and we put it together in one symbol, and behind that symbol we, through the ability to have intelligence, we understand the symbol. And that's why the humans are different from other animals, because we have this speciality that we can be intelligent. That means to collect ideas and put them on one concept. So the importance of schemes are the ones that of these concepts is that helps us to understand how the normal things that we use every day, daily, they have so much weight and so much information that we don't even notice about that, because we normalize all the things around us. So the example that I wrote in the blog today, for example, it was the letter A. The letter A, the sound A, that sound is has such a weight of history that all the meanings in that tiny letter that we use every day is the summary, the scheme of 2,400 years of history. So, for example, letter A. We all know the letter A like this, okay? But what happened? In history, the letter A was first like this. And then it started to turn and to turn and turn until we know now the letter A. So, for example, this letter like this before was the letter in like this. The A was the letter for the Egyptians. Okay. After the Egyptians, it turned like this to Phoenicians. From Phoenicians, it turned like this to Greek, and from the Greek, it turns like this to the Romans, the Latin. So that's how the letter has been spinning according to the writings of each culture. I will show you so you have it. These are the 4 positions of the letter A. In Egyptian times, Phoenician, Greek, and Roman time. The letter A was spinning just 180 degrees. So the letter A was called alpha in Greek times. In Phoenician times was called aleph, and in Egyptian time was called apis. All of them means bull. The bull. So the letter A means bull and comes from the head of a bull. So imagine that why the A is the first letter of the alphabet. Because in the moment when all the ancient concepts were creating the letter, it was during the time of Taurus, the constellation of Taurus. So during those 2,400 years, it was all the history in which the constellation of Taurus was the only communication between humans and the divine. And that's why for them, the Taurus was the beginning of everything. The Taurus was basically the one that opened the ground so we can sow. The cow was the one giving the milk so we could feed the families. So this meant that the cow and the bull were so important for that period of time that they connected the origin and the connection with the divine with the Taurus. So that was the beginning of life. That's why through the Mediterranean Sea, all the cultures creating a Taurus-based culture. Okay, that was the main symbol of all these traditions, and Apis was like the beginner of all this. So that's why for that culture, the A, the representative of the Taurus, was the first letter. That's it. Okay, it was the foundation of the knowledge of life. So now we can see the whole process. And how can we see the whole process? If the cow, the bull, is the one that opens the ground to sow the seeds, so the beginning of life, the wealth of everything that was created, so the one that must close the whole process is the divine watching itself, creating the whole thing, all the creation itself, analyzing, observing, contemplating everything, the path that it took to get to the divine. That's why the last letter of the alphabet is omega. Omega is the great O, and the great O is talking about the I, because I comes from Oin, that comes from Ujat in Egyptian, that means I. So the letter O is related to the origin I. And that's why it's the great I that sees everything. Omega is the great I, the God. Okay, so that's why the last letter is the one observing the whole path. Imagine that in that time, it was impossible to describe the universe. It was impossible to describe the expansion of all the knowledge and all the things that existed around in the cosmos. So how could they put all that data, all that information in just one tiny concept so we could all understand what it is? So it describes the first thing that is created with the seed in the ground, and then the divine, the whole cosmos in the invisible that is watching. So all that together is called Alpha and Omega. That's why created the name of God. This is why it was so complicated to describe God and the path of existence, that the best way to name God was to say Alpha and Omega. So everything in the universe is basically a scheme, a framework, a concept of the whole existence of the universe. So here we have a great paradox in the universe to try to understand how everything is a summary. And we will try to understand it in this way. Let's begin by this design. The universe is only one thing, only one dot. That's it. And this being is projected into the whole universe by polarity, positive and negative, as we already have spoken so much. One of the things that we have to understand is that the cosmos is not projecting outside as two, it's basically expanding outside from within. That's the real way to understand it. So I'm going to make it again because it didn't work. Okay. So this is a way to understand how the universe expands in positive and negative. Okay. And of course, this is not like this, but this is a scheme. This is a framework, okay, to understand it. From the center, expands in positive and negative. So it creates the polarity. Bien. So it doesn't matter the order where you put each one of them, but it's a concept, okay? So this universe will create a concept that is subconscious, another one conscious, and another one unconscious. Okay. So the center of this structure will be polarized in positive and negative. That's why it's the unconscious, because it's moved by everything. So I will have a subconscious structure that I call alpha and a conscious aspect that I will call omega. So omega will be the eye that sees everything, and the alpha will be the expression, the manifestation of that thing that is being seen. Okay. So what the one of them will do is to divide itself from the unity into many different options. Okay, so many thousands of options that it will create, so it can live by polarity, the different ways of itself. So the universe, being only one, will expand itself in millions of beings, and then these millions of options will come back to the unity, creating only one self, a scheme to describe the whole thing, so this individual can be experiencing all these options. So to understand this, the unity expands itself in strings of time, creating the different dimensions, different options. So you can see here like the strings of an harp, of a guitar. So you see the vibration here. So this projects the dimensions, and then by positive and negative, it creates different options that will create the bodies of my ancestors in different spaces. So different people that lived in different moments of history that will make a summary in me in this point here. So I am the scheme, the result, the framework of this outline, of this diagram that came from the unity. This is why the only answer possible to everything is I am. I am the alpha and the omega. Each one of us is just the summary, the schematic structure of thousands and billions of years of evolution of different beings in different times and different spaces. To understand this, I am the letter A of the universe. So I am the summary of the whole potential of the cosmos in just one little concept. I am the A, and this A can write poems or can send to kill. This A can write beautiful stories or horrible things. A letter can be used for thousands of years for thousands of things, different things, but still it's just a letter. So the whole universe finds itself in a scheme, in a frame of just a tiny thing. But how I use that tiny thing is what makes the difference. So we usually used to say we are the universe or the universe lives within you, but in a very Pisces way, which means that uh, you have the universe within, you can feel the entire universe, and you can be your own creator, and so on. So there are concepts so big in Pisces that you cannot get exactly how to get it, because you may say, yes, I am the universe, but then in practice it's like, but what do? I don't know how to apply this universe that I have within. I don't feel it. I get depressed. So let's go into a much more Capricornian way of understanding we are our own universe. Basically, because the universe that we know, the energetical one and the physical one, the one that creates atoms, can tell us that every atom, chemical element that we have in our body are the same atoms that are in the stars, in the constellations, in the in the stars, in the sun, in the moon, in the asteroids, everywhere. So that means that if I am the summary of all these same chemical elements that are all around the cosmos, and all of them throughout the cosmos were able to create life and all this wonder, that means that if I am the summary of all of that in this frame, which is the body, so I have the universe within, so I can be a creator too. To wrap the idea, in the same way as the letter A is the summary of 2,400 years of history BC, I myself, each one of us, is a summary of thousands of billions of years of existence. And that's why we are a scheme of the universe, because we are a great content as a summary in this tiny body. Okay, so let's go to the information for today. The vibration for today is Do. The statement for today is I am the essence of the profound. The quote for today is magnesium. Most of it is found in oceans, and like all life originated from them, magnesium is fundamental. In the plant kingdom, vegetal kingdom has a very important role in photosynthesis to produce the necessary energy for plants. And in the same way, in the animal kingdom is a necessary component to keep the structure of the DNA and RNA, like to improve the formation of neurotransmitters. This element energizes and at the same time relaxes the physical body, and is the eighth element in quality on the terrestrial cortex. Let's go to the alignment. Sit comfortable, close your eyes. and focus in our breathing. Softly and with consciousness, I start to caress the entire body, massaging it from my feet to my head. I become aware of my feet, my legs, belly, back, hands and arms, chest, neck, and head. Take a deep breath. I become aware of the air around me, of the light, the colors that surrounds me, the place where I find myself, all the objects and people in the same room that I am. And take a deep breath. Become aware of the entire space where you find yourself. A home, a building, a neighborhood. Pay attention if you are on the ground, on the air, on the water, and all the people that is sharing this same space with you. And take a deep breath. I become aware of the region, the country that I find myself in. The culture of this land, the traditions, the history, the cities or the nature. I become aware of this place in the world where I am. Take a deep breath. I become aware of the continent I find myself in, all the countries, the people, the vegetal kingdom, the animals, the minerals, that are in this continent with me. Take a deep breath. I become aware of the planet I find myself in, the Earth, all its continents, oceans, every species, and I become aware of the entire history of this planet, the history towards me, from the first cell in the oceans till my dad and mom, till myself. Take a deep breath. And I become aware of the solar system where I find myself, with its sun, the planets, the asteroids. Take a deep breath. And I become aware of the galaxy I find myself in, the Milky Way, with all its constellations. I breathe, and I become aware of all the galaxies in the entire universe. I breathe. I become aware of all the dimensions through time and space where I find myself in. I recognize that I am a multidimensional being. And I recognize that all this that exists is just vibration, energy, and matter. I breathe. I recognize that the matter are just particles, and the energy in them is just magnetism, and the vibration of it is just the correspondence of the universal mind. Take a deep breath. I expand myself, and I recognize that this vibration, this magnetism, and these particles are the basis of my cell, my first cell. My cell contains all of it. Take a deep breath. And from this cell, I expand and recognize the billions of cells that create my body, who I am. The cells that create my muscles, organs, and bones. And take a deep breath. and I recognize I am the summary of the entire universe. And I resound with this consciousness. I am the depth of the universe. I am the essence of the profound. I am the essence of the profound. I am the essence of the profound. I am the verb. I am the Alpha and the Omega. And you start to come back here and now by caressing and stretching the body, bringing all this consciousness throughout the body. Thank you, everybody, for being there as always, and see you tomorrow at the same time.